How's it going, everybody? This is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another edition of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. In today's episode, we have our first three-time guest to the podcast. He is the Senior VP of Digital Marketing and Innovation with Fox Roach. Of course, I am talking about our own Rajeev Sajja, and we're going to cover technology for 2023, specifically what is new in terms of technology for us at Fox Roach, as well as some big advancements in technology for the world at large. It's always good to talk to Rajeev, so we're going to get right into the conversation with him this week, and we'll pick it up on the other side. He is our first three-time guest, and I feel like we should get him a monogrammed velour smoking jacket for coming on today. Like SNL, they have the 5-time club. We should have like the 3-time club for my guest, Rajeev Sajja. Rajeev, how you doing today?
Doing great, Jason. And that coat you're talking about might be something I wear in the convention in Vegas.
Well, I am bound and determined now to make that happen so I can see that firsthand, you know.
Whatever happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. So let's make it happen.
It's the perfect place for it, you know. Yeah. So, well, it's a pleasure to have you back on again. And it's been a little while since we've spoken. And again, it's the new year. And the new year brings new changes in terms of technology and what's out there. We thought it would be a great time to have you on and talk to the agents in the company about what's happening first and foremost with Fox and Roach, but also what's happening out there in the larger sphere of the real estate industry. So real estate, we talk about technology. Real estate is a relationship business at its core, and I don't think that's ever going to change. However, technology is important. So let's start with a very basic question. Why is it so important in today's real estate market world to incorporate technology and systems into our business for everyday use?
That's a great question. I agree with you. Relationship, you can't outsource relationships, right? I mean, you got to meet people face to face, do the things that you need to do. But I think we also need to recognize, I saw a quote the other day, Jason, that said, technology is never going to replace the real estate agent. However, real estate agents with technology will, right? So it's a little bit of a combo, right? I mean, we all have 24 hours in a day. You can only do so much manually. So you got to look at systems, technology, processes that you need to grow your business. What do your consumers need? People aren't looking for just listing information. People are looking for your knowledge about the market, right? You're like the resident expert. So there are tools and technology, I'm sure we'll get into it, that kind of empower you. That's your tool in a bag. You don't use every tool in the bag, but you pick the right tool for the right person. And for some people, it's just a pad and a pen. You don't need anything else. But for some, they need that technology to support what you're saying. So I think there's a mixture there. I do believe that relationships can never be automated, but I think technology will power your relationships and really strengthen them.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I love that quote, by the way, because it is so true. Much of what we do now is tech-driven, and it's just a part of our everyday life now. And I know as an agent, you mentioned the challenges that can kind of come with that it can be like another full-time job to kind of incorporate this technology and learn these new programs. But, as people, I feel like we should always be learning anyway, right? We have to stay ahead of the curve. And one of my greatest fears is that, I have an assistant now and I don't want the assistant to just know everything, right? And I just say, hey, hey, Henry, go do this, right? Because I need to stay ahead of the curve myself. I don't want to fall behind. And I feel like a lot of agents fall into kind of that category that we're afraid. We're afraid of learning new things and we're afraid to fall behind at the same time. So with that said, one of the things that we wanted to touch upon today, and we're not going to make this podcast all about this, but we talk about CRMs and everybody knows about a CRM now. And I do want to mention that for those that don't know yet, we are getting a new company CRM called BHHS Connect. And by all accounts, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I've had my hands on it. It's a very, very robust tool. You don't have to use any more than you want to use out of it, but you can literally do anything from there. So we've had other CRMs before, some that will remain nameless. And this one is completely different. So what gets you excited about BHHS Connect and how it will enhance our agents' business out there?
Great question. So timing is perfect, right? I heard Larry's podcast last week, and he kind of teased the audience about Connect. And Connect is coming to all our agents on February 22nd, 2023. Let me mention the year as well, and which is next month. So, I think in the past, Jason, and you mentioned CRM, and I think I want to take a step back and mention that Connect is not just a CRM, it's more of a productivity platform. And I'll touch on a few areas, and I don't want to tease the audience completely because they need to come to training to kind of fully dive in. But imagine, all of us need to do changes and upgrade our tech and the way we embrace things. I don't know what version of iPhone you have. I mean, I recently got the 14. I've realized that I should skip versions because they come out with versions every year. But I can be running real estate technology on an iPhone 4, right? I mean, nothing will download, okay? It's like having a really good car with no gasoline or electric, depending on which car you drive. So you need to have the current technology, and that's what I'm really excited about Connect, because Connect gives you the ability to not just have your database organized, but also do other meaningful things like a CMA right from the platform versus having to jump somewhere else. You can text your sphere through your platform, and you would be flabbergasted. I pulled up this stat. I actually prepared for this, Jason. So according to NAR, right, 90% of consumers would use the same agent again. And you know the stat. I mean, but only 13% do. Scary, okay? And a Zillow survey uncovered that 74% of agents do nothing to stay in touch after the sale. And the average agent has 397 consumers in the database, apparently. So within this database, 9.3% of those people either are moving or know someone that's moving in the next 12 months. So that is 37 opportunities in their database. And I read this quote too: your next deal is in your database. Unfortunately, people's database is all over the place. So you need a basic CRM that sort of organizes your sphere and gives you the right opportunities. And imagine this: in the meantime, instead of the hidden value in the sphere, people are investing in uncovering new leads, paying for leads, and buying more leads when the gold is right under their nose, right? I digress. So think about having a CRM, and the reason I get excited about Connect is it's a smart CRM, and it's not a static CRM. What does that mean? So let's say I'm in one of your databases, Jason, 397 consumers, and I'm very active with the information you're sharing with me. You're sending me emails, market reports. You can subscribe people to market reports, email campaigns, and I'm on your website browsing for properties, versus someone else in your database is not doing any of that. They don't even open your email because they're probably not as engaged in the market. You want the CRM to bubble up to you saying, you need to talk to Rajeev because he's been very active on your system. That's a smart CRM. So you could be sleeping, taking care of your 3 cats, and all of a sudden your app dings saying, I think you need to call Rajeev today. So it's going to bubble up the hardest opportunities automatically based on interaction. But the key is you need to get your database in so it can actually work for you.
Well, first off, I really don't like you mentioning that I do have 3 cats, because
I think that's a privilege.
It takes a little away of my street cred. You know what I mean? So I like to say they're my wife's cats, even though
Anne's cats.
I dote all over. Secondly, I will say I have an iPhone 14 now, just as you, because I was forced to upgrade from an 8 Plus. And it's so true. I had the 8 Plus forever. It was starting to drop calls. I couldn't download data anymore. It was slow. It was a mess. And we had to upgrade the technology. Now, I love also the productivity platform. I should rephrase that CRM into that statement because it is so true. There is so many things that you can do from, I'm just going to call it Connect. There's so many things you can do from Connect. But it really depends on what you want out of it. The bare bones is the CRM, but there's lead gen, there's listing presentations, there's all these things that you can do from it. And that's where I get really excited about it as well. So, some agents, as we talked about, find it extremely daunting to try and stay ahead of the curve with technology, video, social media. For those out there that are technologically challenged, like we have been talking about, where do you recommend that those agents start with incorporating technology into their everyday use and their marketing, whether it's Connect or something else?
Yeah, no, I love using analogies, and we've gone down the iPhone path. Like you got the 14, I have the 14. There's probably a zillion features in the 14 phone that I have no idea what they are.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know how to call, I know how to text, I know how to take a picture, do videos. So don't be overwhelmed with the tech we give you. Start small, like get your database in there, organize your database, send an item of value to everyone in your database, and start there. Then the CRM is working for you in some capacity, and you learn over time. For example, I learned that I could unsend a message on chat on my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
New feature. I did not know that when I got my iPhone, but there's new stuff that you learn over time. So I think people are using this philosophy in their everyday lives. Bring it over to Connect. Don't just kind of go in there freewheeling everything. Because if you get a new iPhone, the first thing you want to know is, does this phone ring? Somebody calls me. Like the basic functions, right? Is your database in your CRM? So focus on the basics, ignore the rest, and the rest will come to you over time.
I think that's a great way to put it. I also just this weekend, I found a new feature that if you press down on a picture in the 14, it actually outlines the people that are in there, and you can actually copy just those people and put them somewhere else, which is pretty interesting. I have to find a way cleverly to use this, but it's kind of like
if you take a picture,
Photoshop.
Jason, maybe if you take a picture of people you don't like, maybe you can eliminate them from your camera roll.
That's exactly right. Or I can, and we could do the flip side. I can be put into like, an Oscar stage or something like that,
Everybody likes you, Jason.
Be surrounded by the glitterati. So, all right. So beyond Connect, where do you see tech heading in 2023? What's on the horizon for our industry as a whole on the tech side?
So, I mean, social media is not new. Video is not new. But I read some really compelling statistics around video use, right? So 72% of every content on the internet in 2023 is going to be video. I know I've seen your videos, Jason. I've seen many agents in our company kind of embrace video. And look, your first video is going to suck compared to your 20th video. And your 100th video is going to be really awesome. But you can't get to 100 without going through the pain early. So learn as much as you can. And if you have a kid in your house, a teenager, give them a Starbucks gift card and they will teach you everything you need to know about video. So I'll give you an example. I sent out a video about, we're going to get into this artificial intelligence stuff recently. And one of the agents, Sheila Kent, in our, I think, Doylestown office, she responded to me. And she's not a millennial, okay? A very seasoned agent. And she responded to me saying, Rajeev, you inspired me on starting video. And she sent me 4 videos she did using this free technology called Loom about how she was connecting, building authenticity with their clients. And that's a great example of not being perfect, just progress. Progress is great, right? So just embrace it, start slow, and I think you'll get there in 2023.
Yeah, the video is so interesting because and for those of you that are hesitant, we always talk about this to do video because it always seems like video, but it's true. If you go back and listen to my first couple of podcasts, oh my God, and I like to think that I've gotten a little better at this, but you're so nervous, you don't know what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, by the 10th one or 15th video that you're putting out, you feel right at home doing it. And you realize that there was nothing to fear in the first place, right? It doesn't matter. It's about doing it and putting out the content. And that's really what people want to see the mistakes too. They want to see the authenticity. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. It's just you being you on camera,
Yeah, 100%, Jason. And here's the best part with phones and technology we have. If you really did a bad video, click delete and start over.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're doing this like you're on camera, you're on action news, and you don't have a retake. You can retake as many times as you want, but don't look for perfection. Just look for progress.
Absolutely. So you did briefly mention what we're going to talk about next, and this actually blows me away. So before you and I had a conversation about this, and you sent out an email, I had listened to a podcast recently, and they were talking about a big leap in the advancement of AI, artificial intelligence. And in particular, there is a program called Chat GPT. And they were on this podcast. They were live using this program, and you can type basically anything into this, and it will spit out something pretty miraculous by all today's standards of what we consider to be advanced technology. So their example was, I would like you to write ChatGPT. I would like you to write a short story in a 1920s gangster voice about love. And it spit out this story that it was excellent. It was really, really good. It was amazing what you can do with this. And I immediately thought, okay, how can I game the system and use it for real estate? So you sent out an email on that note. How do you think that agents can use this new technology, take advantage of a tool like Chat GPT? And is there a danger of using AI too much to do work for us?
So let me preface this conversation because I think ChatGPT just sort of opened the door until probably recently. And ChatGPT is funded by Microsoft through a company called OpenAI. They put $1 billion. So there's some teeth to the whole AI conversation. And then Google, I just read an article this morning, Jason. Google has a ChatGPT rival called Sparrow that's going to be private release. So Microsoft and Google are kind of outrunning each other for their search because they own search, and especially with Google with the search engine. So I would not trust anything that's automated. I would make sure it passes through your human filter, okay, before you publish anything, right? Because it's your word. However, I think up until recently, artificial intelligence has really been trying to solve the bigger problems where you need hundreds of machines computing things together, understanding software programs and things of that nature, until ChatGPT was released, where it was solving everyday, time-consuming things that people spend time in. So let's bring it home with real estate. Think of the painful things that you need to do every day. Sometimes when you get a listing, that's great, but writing a property description might be painful.
It's brutal.
Writing it without making spelling mistakes you got to put it through grammar. So all of those things, think of, and I'm a big believer in anything that saves me time and makes me more efficient. I want to give it a look. So ChatGPT is in that. Now, we talked about video. You can ask ChatGPT, write me an Instagram script for real estate, and it will write you a short Instagram script for real estate. So content is king. But to generate content, it takes time, effort, and I think ChatGPT just opened the door and for what AI would be for all aspects of our lives. You know, I was talking to my dad the other day, and imagine this, Jason. Your mom's in the business. Okay, my dad's 81 years old. Imagine if I could create a ChatGPT for what would my dad do? Okay. And if it can understand human behavior and really personalize it, how would Jason respond on a podcast? And it would basically respond as you because it's heard you enough times to understand how would you respond. So there's a lot to this, a lot of compliance, cybersecurity, all of that. So I'm going to pump the brakes on that piece of it. But this really opens the door on how it can potentially help us transform our lives for the better in many areas.
Well, I wouldn't be that impressed if it came, what would Jason say? Because it would just be a bunch of gibberish anyway, and everybody already knows that. So, but I do think that from my standpoint, I think about, okay, if I'm sending out, say, a client letter, like a cover letter,
yeah,
right? Perfect. You talk about the Instagram stories or Instagram reels, give me some content. Great. Statistics. Great. There's so many things, property descriptions. I mean, I can't tell you. I talk about this with agents all the time. We loathe writing property descriptions, even though
I can only imagine.
And they become so formulaic too, right? Because all of us have our certain pros, our certain words that we use. And, there's a lot of joking about different types of adjectives that you're going to use, flowery stuff in your descriptions. This would give you the opportunity to sound a little bit different, which would be good. And you don't have to take the hour or so to write the description if it's going to take you that long. It is scary on the other side, because I think it was the Google AI that they were kind of in this argument about whether the AI was actually sentient. I don't know if you saw that. There's I guess a guy that was working on this AI and claimed that the AI was alive, and we're getting into far creepy territory. But it is amazing how far we've come in a short period of time. Let's leave it.
100%. I also did not share this on my recording. I started asking it a bunch of questions, and I asked it, what is the listing concierge program from Berkshire Hathaway, Fox Roach? And it wrote probably the best description of the program that we've taken hours to write. Okay. And it got it to the 5-yard line. I always say 5-yard line. It's never a touchdown, because I got to see it, adjust it to my liking, whatever. But I think it'll save time for people over time.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it's just a game changer in a lot of ways. Now, it's free, as I understand it. It's free right now. But that is to kind of, I think, to get some feedback from what I understand, and see the user use and how people are using it out there. Eventually, it may be a pay for add-on to things. So take advantage of it while you can, while it's free, and definitely check it out if you're listening. It's pretty amazing. All right, so with changes in tech and marketing happening on a daily basis, like we just talked about. Is it tough for you personally to stay ahead of the curve? I think about your job, and it's got to be incredibly difficult. I mean, I know you love technology, but things change so fast. So what challenges do you face in your job day to day?
That's a great question. I am in a committee as well with Home Services of America with 5 of us. It's called the Technology Excellence Panel, that everything sort of floats through. So we see shiny, and the industry of real estate has this shiny object syndrome, the next shiny object. And I'm like an early adopter for most things, just to see what it's about, like ChatGPT and things of that nature. But one of the filters, there's 2 filters I put it through before I even say this has some legs to it. The first is, I focus on you, the agent. Jason, I know you're, by the way, congratulations on Chairman Circle Gold or something. You got Agent of the Month and stuff like that.
I appreciate
So I look at the agents that our company has, 5,500 agents. And I said, will this groundbreaking technology, as they promote it, will this help agents save time? First filter, let it pass that. Or will it help them make more money? If it passes those 2, then we say, you know what, there may be something to this. Let's look at it. Then we put it to another filter. Do we already have something that we offer our agents? Because change is hard, right? Just think about the connect change, right? I mean, some changes are forced upon us, some are not. But if we have to change CRMs, that's not an easy task. So we put through the third filter is, do we offer something that is pretty close to what this technology offers? If not, is it a gap? So we look at all of those things, and if it passes all those filters is when we say, you know what, there may be something here. Let's look at it. Let's look at the vendor. And is the vendor like bootstrapped and could disappear the next day if you partner with them? So there's a lot of factors before we get truly excited about something. So that's how I sort of stay calm and not have my stress level go up on new tech that hits our inbox every day.
So it's almost like you have to have systems in place to kind of, filter through these things.
Yeah.
And it is, Silicon Valley is notorious for these startups happening every day, and then they get bought up by some big conglomerate or another company, and then we're left with dealing with XYZ. So I totally, it's got to be a source of frustration at times, I'm sure. to try and kind of figure these things out, or what's best for, for us as a company or Fox and Roach. And it sounds, it sounds like it would be a really interesting job to wake up to every day to kind of see what's out there and see what's on the horizon. It's got to be very exciting. So outside of Connect, which we touched upon, what's one valuable tool agents can use right now today, in your estimation, to gain more business through our technology?
So this is not necessarily the technology we offer, which everyone can do this, right? So we talked earlier a little bit about social media and video. So I read a report, 2023 Ogilvy social media trends. And if I were to ask you, what do you think is the number one fastest growing social media network right now? What would you say, Jason? On the spot.
I think the blanket answer would be TikTok.
It is TikTok. It is TikTok by a landslide.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if TikTok, this is like, we're fascinated by TikTok. I don't know if TikTok's going to be around 5 years from now. Okay? We were fascinated by Instagram a long time ago. We still are. Okay. But there was MySpace last time we checked, right? So we were fascinated. But the grassroots function of whatever these platforms do is we share content on these platforms. So the key is to get good in creating good content. And whatever platform is of the year, use it, right? It's like create short videos for things that you want to talk about. Like we send out these daily emails that hit every agent's inbox from Go Social Agent Icon. And there are really good Instagram stories, Facebook stories for videos and reels. You can pick from a library of things and start to share that stuff. You don't even have to create it. Now, at some point, you're going to have to learn how to create stuff. So I would challenge everyone that's listening to this podcast to be, at the end of 2023, when you look back, you say, I conquered video. Should be a statement you should be proud to make. The next one is, I conquered social media and not really focus on all channels, focus on where my sphere is at. I feel like Facebook, some agents say that's my primary. Nothing wrong with any answer you give me, but you need to know where your sphere is and focus on liking their posts and really asking, like, happy birthday, right? Simple thing. Every day my whole Facebook reminds me, I don't do this often, but if I was a realtor, if Jason's birthday is coming up, instead of just wishing them happy birthday, I'd write something better than everyone else. So I'm top of mind, because there's 100 people saying happy birthday to Jason. Add some authenticity. I would say, Jason, having a party tonight, with a question mark. So it's bound upon him to respond to me. In most cases he would, but he would think of Rajeev as he was responding to me. And that's top of mind. So I think just not saying happy birthday, but adding more juice to what you're saying and authenticity, engaging, is what I would do. So I would say conquer social media and conquer video in 2023.
And you and I saw each other up in Makunji recently, and and we were talking about, one thing that I want to focus on personally is YouTube, because I feel like it's an underutilized tool for agents, right? And it is very video driven, so you have to be comfortable with doing, your YouTube shorts, or even if we go back to Reels, right? One thing that I focused on when I get listings now is, a lot of agents now are doing video for their listings, right? They may hire a videographer to do listings and, listing videos and go through the house. But I do notice that agents, I think, fall into the trap of still making those videos too long, right? They make them 3, 4, 5 minutes long. Very rarely does somebody stick around for that length. But what I started doing was making a social cut, that we named it, my videographer and I, a social cut video, where we focus on a minute or less. It's quick hitting. It's people will watch it all the way through, and it's geared towards social media, towards Reels, towards, putting out short length video that really pops and gets people interested. And we found that the response to that, having a shorter video, is much greater than a long one. So again, like you had mentioned, it's finding your target audience. What platform are they on? Because traditionally now Facebook skews a little bit older, and maybe that's where the eyeballs are focused for a certain age group. The younger people are not using Facebook at all. For those of you who have kids out there, probably know this already, but TikTok, Instagram, some other places online, but I Instagram kind of is my home. I feel most comfortable there. That's my footing at this point in my career. Maybe that'll shift as I get older. Maybe Instagram will be the new Facebook, like you talked about, right?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Jason. I mean, property videos, agents fall in love and they want to create like 4-minute videos, like you mentioned. And the only one that watches those videos is a seller. That's it. Right? Nobody else is watching that.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you realize, so when you create video, create it for different platforms. Some of them are sizes. So do what you can and also ingest your personality into the video. I watch your videos. They're very well done. And it's you. You're not like putting on a game face on them. You are, but you're not. It's your personality shining through. So if you're a fun-loving personality, make it fun. So you build a personality on video as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think authenticity is the number one thing that you should incorporate into your video. Don't try and be someone that you're not, or try and be this person or that person who's doing their own thing. Make it yours is the most important thing. All right. So last question I have for you today before I let you go. And this is a very, very important question.
I can't wait.
Now, recently, you've had a couple pickleball tournaments within the company.
Yes.
And luckily, nobody has died yet. So that's good, or gotten severely injured. So that's good. We're one up on like the softball tournament that used to happen where there are people.
I remember that day.
There would be bodies strewn all over the softball field. Who is the best pickleball player in the company right now?
Now that's very debatable. But however, I'll give you an answer that's actually probably will stand the test of time till we play the third tournament. As you know, we've had 2 tournaments, right? And we can't wait for you and Ann to come for the third tournament.
Yes,
this year, by the way. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first one was a very contested one. There were 16 people, 8 teams. And the winner was Rebecca Francis from our Lehigh Valley office, Center Valley office. And so we didn't play individuals, singles. We played doubles. So I can't say one is better than the other, but Wendy Markowitz, our Princeton manager, and Rebecca were undefeated in tournament 1.
Wow.
So I will put them up on the pedestal for now, because, they got to win it again. Second tournament we had in Jersey, where Tom Dixon, our Haverford manager, and Nancy Hunt from our Vineland office agent were undefeated. So those 4 are probably our pickleball champions of 2022. But now we have a new year, new challenge. So we're going to have a tournament in the summer. And if time permits, we're going to do this and raise money for Fox and Roach and charities and do it all across the company. So that's my vision for pickleball. But those 4 are the top.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I've seen a phenomenon like pickleball. I played pickleball when I was in high school, and it was part of our, and nobody knew what it was. And we all loved it, right? But then it was like, it's almost like a QR code, right? When QR codes first came on the scene, everybody loved QR codes, but they didn't know how to incorporate them into their business. So they kind of went away. Same thing with pickleball. I played pickleball back in the mid 90s and then completely disappeared from my life. I completely forgot about it. And then I don't know when it all started again, but now pickleball is like the new phenomenon, like almost like the Chat GPT of physical fitness, So I can't wait to get out there on the pickleball. I guess I was going to say field. I guess I could say court.
Sport is better.
I got to make sure I limber up though. So, I'm going to.
Yes, we'll get you there.
And Rebecca, shout out to Rebecca, friend of the podcast. I do want to throw the gauntlet down right now that I am coming for you. So I just want to make that known.
There it is. I'm telling you, Rebecca and Wendy are going to be ready.
All right.
Tom and Nancy are going to be ready too, but it's a new year.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I look forward to that. And Rajeev, thank you. Thank you so much again. Thank you for being the first 3-time member guest on our podcast. And
well, thank you, Jason. I'm hoping to win my first pickleball tournament in 2023. I'm going to go with first on that one and third on this one, but I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was the interview this week, and here are a couple of takeaways that I have from my conversation with Rajeev. Number one, Rajeev cites a great quote that I think encapsulates our industry right now. And that quote is, technology will never replace the real estate agent. However, real estate agents with technology will. And from my perspective, that's just the bottom line, isn't it? If you're not incorporating technology into what you do today, then you are missing a golden opportunity to gain more business, number one. But also, number two, to stay ahead of the curve, because once you fall behind with technology, it is hard to catch up. Now, having said that, if you feel like you're not good with technology, it's never too late to learn something new. And so I challenge all of you out there to think about what are one or two new wrinkles that I can employ with my business that I haven't done yet, because I haven't learned to use XYZ program, right? Think about what can benefit your business, employ that in 2023, and your business will be better for it. And that leads me to my second point. You know, Rajeev gave some great advice to all of us when he says, figure out your tools. You don't need everything in the toolbox, right? He gives the example of an iPhone, and you don't need to know every single feature that's on the iPhone. You know how to do the basics from your phone, right? And for most of us, that gets the job done. But you may want to learn a new tool on that phone from time to time. You may want to use a new app on that phone from time to time. The same goes for your business. You want to learn and incorporate new things into your business every year. Our business is an evolving organism, right? It should never be static. We should always be learning, trying new things, seeing what works, and that will always lead to the best outcome when it comes to your business productivity. And speaking of productivity, that leads me to my third and final point, the productivity platform that we will all be getting in 2023 at Fox Roach, BHHS Connect. I do want to give a shout out to this program because I have had my hands on it. It is an amazing tool for your business. So when you have the opportunity to learn about BHHS Connect, make sure that you do so. Make sure that you take the time to understand this program, the different tools that are on there for you to use. And I promise you, you'll be raising your productivity in the year of 2023. Well, that's it for the podcast this week. We will be back in another couple of weeks with a new topic, a new guest, and as always, if you want to hear something that we haven't covered yet, please reach out to me at jason.ostrowski@foxroach.com. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to the podcast or left us a review yet, please do so. It helps us to reach more people. This is Jason Ostrowski once again saying stay safe out there, stay selling, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast.